announce his retirement because, like,
Yeah.
I mean, what, like, this album just fully proves AC/DC can't be stopped. They're gonna be like all dead and still somehow making albums.
Hey,
All right,
back in business
again.
It's been a while. It's been a minute, but we're back.
For a while.
Yeah, we're back for another episode of the Boys Review. So if you guys like our content, you guys can leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Try to get an upload every week. And today we're covering an album that we really should have covered about a year ago. But in a way, you know what? A year is a good time to really see how an album has aged. We're covering Power Up by one of our favorites, AC/DC.
AC/DC.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because I've been wanting to cover this for a while, and I don't know where to start with Power Up. I guess it was a surprise when it came out, right? Like no one was expecting.
Yeah, it was a huge surprise.
Yeah.
I don't was it hinted at? I feel like there was like a campaign leading up to it. It was a really good campaign.
I'll admit it was pretty stealthy. It was like it started with like it showed them performing, and then I sent you a picture of it, and it was like they're not really performing. Like that's just them on stage. Like there's no way they could do that. But then it all started to make sense. It was like, this is a new word mark. This is a new logo. I don't think like AC/DC, they wouldn't be together unless they were working on something. And then I'm not sure Shot in the Dark came out. It was like, oh no, this is for real. Like our heroes are coming. They're back in business, you know?
It was crazy. Yeah. I mean, I think we both thought AC/DC was done.
Like, I know. Like not in the middle of COVID. Like
you're waiting for the day it was like AC/DC announces retirement because, like, I mean, what, like, this album just fully proves AC/DC can't be stopped. They're gonna be like all dead and still somehow making albums. You know,
they're gonna be rocking the cemetery when they're long gone. You know,
another member dies. One of them loses his hearing. The other one gets goes to
arrested,
court trying to kill someone, hiring a hitman. Like, in no way should that should kill a band. That would kill any other band.
I know, but they're like they have 9 lives with the Energizer Bunny of bands, which is why I was so happy to see them come back. I was like, oh, we needed this so badly, you know, because it was just such a weird period where everything was closed and then nothing was going on, and like you needed to feel like something was coming back, like, you know, this will all come back one day, and AC/DC was like, hey, we're not going anywhere, so it kind of gave me hope, you know.
Yeah, it was perfect timing. It's exactly what we needed.
It was exactly what the doctor ordered.
Didn't really like draw attention to everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know about you. It got me through the pandemic. Like,
for sure.
For sure. During the lockdown, it was like, oh my God. Like, it was inspiring. It was like, oh man, AC/DC can do it. Like, we can get through this.
No, exactly. And it was just perfect. Like, cause you know what? I didn't know what to expect either after Rock or Bust. I was like, I don't know. That album just didn't really do it for me. And that's for another review, but I don't know what to expect. But right off the bat, the opening realizes like, whoa, okay. They're like, it just starts with Brian Johnson going like, wow, like, and there's like his very shrill, like,
he kills it on this album. He sounds like he has something to prove, you know? I mean, after getting fired and like losing his hearing, he's like, I think he sounds better than he's sounded in.
He really does.
Probably since Razor's Edge. Like,
I think so too.
He has sounded older. He sounded older on Stiff Upper Lip like 20 years ago than he does on Power Up. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I know. He sounds amazing. I was gonna say the same thing. I listened to it again today, and I was like, wow, Brian Johnson really sounds good. And he shouldn't sound that good at his age.
No,
like
he shouldn't. And after he lost his hearing, like, you know, he's in his 70s. Like, he shouldn't He shouldn't sound that good.
He really shouldn't. It was incredible how amazing he sounded, especially after all the tours he did, performing like 3 nights a week for 2 hours a night, just blowing up. He's got a crazy set of pipes. Like, I mean, to be able to sing like that at that age for that long,
Yeah,
it's incredible. Crazy. He's one of my favorite frontmen of rock, I think. Like he's
got spunk.
Yeah, he's got some serious mojo. I love the bonnet. He's got nice bonnet energy going on. He's got big bonnet energy.
Yeah.
I mean, Realize is just like, I don't really know what it's about, but it's just a great album opener.
I don't really know what most of this is about.
No, me neither.
AC/DC, I can only assume that it's about women and rock.
Maybe, probably.
Women and rock. But yeah, there's a little more grit for this album. I find it's a little more gritty and like, I don't know. I don't think they were ever referring to like the pandemic, but it just felt like there's a little more like down on your luckness. To this album, it feels grittier. It feels like they're more spirited and invigorated.
Right. Well, I think there's an open interpretation of it that like the lyrics and chills up and down your spine. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. But I mean, I think that they're trying to say like so much time has passed, maybe that
I don't know.
They're still around.
There's a little more melancholy. I mean, this is still AC/DC, so take that with a grain of salt. But there's a little more melancholy. There's a little more like weariness.
Yeah.
Like almost an awareness of their mortality. But that makes it still invigorating because they're like, yeah, we're aware, but we're still gonna rock.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's one of my underrated favorites of the album. And then we move on to Rejection. Rejection's pretty good. I find that the main riff is a little generic.
It's a little generic, but I think Brian Johnson makes me like the song. Like he really sounds like foaming at the mouth. And I don't know. I'm sure it's about women or rock as always, but it seems to me more like if you give up on us, if you reject us, we're still gonna kick butt. We're still gonna kick ass. I see it a little more autobiographical. Yeah. Something about if you want money and greed, I'll give you everything that you need, or something like that. I don't know what that means.
I don't know either, but I think maybe that's I think it's like maybe they're saying like if you think we're done, we're not.
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm not that they haven't done that before. I mean, that's what Back in Black's about. So
right.
It's not that new, but
it's just them being them. Exactly. It's a pretty solid track overall. Like, I think we said this today when we were listening to it, we were like, the first half of this album is
rocks.
Really rocks. It's got a lot of spunk for sure. And that's all I can think of with Rejection. It's just a great song.
It connects
it follows Realize pretty well,
Yeah.
And then we have Shot in the Dark, which
love Shot in the Dark.
So good, I know.
And that riff, it has just so much swing to it. There's like swagger to it. It's just like I like it's a riff that seems so simple, but like only AC/DC could do it.
Yeah. I think it's just like it's them doing what they do best. Like really good rhythm, really good leads, really tight rhythm playing. I mean, not that the other two didn't have great like tight rhythm, but Shot in the Dark is just like in that sense, it's perfect. It's actually a lot of fun to play on Rock Band, especially.
Yeah, I don't know, and there's something anthemic about it too. Even though I'm pretty sure it's just about like, sleeping with a lady.
Yeah.
Shot in the dark is better. Eats a walk in the park. But
it's very ambiguous, but
it kind of sounds also, I don't know, maybe just because it came out during the pandemic, but it also makes me think of like, I don't know, doing something like more invigorating instead of like, because that's all we were doing at the time was like we'd go to work and then we'd go for a walk. That's like all we do is go for a walk. So something like like just this song is better than having to do another walk again.
I felt that too. I just felt like maybe Shot in the Dark means you're just like they're just like them putting out this album, not knowing how it's gonna go, but just going forward anyways. That's the way they've always kind of been, you know.
Yeah, it's better than like a walk in the park is just like, oh, something, mundane and everyday. But I don't know. We're probably reading way too much.
Reading a bit too, but that's what's so great about
like,
AC/DC is you can apply it to yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
That's what I like Brian, just yell the title and play the riff.
Yeah. And then Through the Mist of Time is a bit of a different AC/DC track because they don't, and it really I think one of the reasons why I chose to cover it recently was because the music video came out for it like about a year later. It came out like last week, and it's really good. Like it's just them paying homage to their fallen bandmates like Bon Scott and Malcolm Young. I think you said it was about him, like it was about Angus talking about his brother, basically.
Yeah, that's what I read in an interview, that it was just like them looking back on their like peak years. And they do it in a really good way. It's not like if it was if they were doing like a real ballad, we would have a problem because that's not AC/DC.
No.
But they still managed to, add a little bit of weariness in there, a little bit of like, like they're contemplating their own mortality. They realize that, their peak years are gone, like the painted ladies and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, they're not those kids anymore, but they still have a little bit of that left in them. So yeah, I don't know. It kind of hits. It's one of the only AC/DC songs I can think of that kind of hit you in the feels, just like
it really does. Like you could shed a tear listening to it because it is kind of, because they're not very introspective.
No, they're not an emotional.
No, they're there for a rockin' good time. But this is like you said, this is a song where they kind of contemplate their own mortality.
They still rock out. They still keep it AC/DC,
Yeah, exactly. I think like Through the Mist of Time is one of my favorites off the album. And then we got Kick You When You're Down. This one's hilarious.
I love this one. This one has like, I can't believe this wasn't a single. It has such single potential.
Yeah.
Like the backing vocals are so funny.
Oh no.
Yeah. Why do they kick you when you're down, dirty?
Yeah, I love it. I love that song, man. It's also the drumming that's pretty cool because sometimes it feels like Phil Rudd just plays the same eighth note over and over and over again.
He's been doing that probably the last 15 years.
I mean, no one does it better than he does, but at the same time, it's like, you play something else, but like, I mean, this is pretty, like that main beat, he doesn't really play that same eighth note. I'm not a drumming expert, but it doesn't sound like the others. I'll just say that much. Maybe it's just, and I think it kind of fits with the theme of the whole like rejection, maybe, of this album, where it's like people thought they're like, maybe people are kicking them when they're down. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm reading into it too much, but
I don't know. And it's also just a feeling I think we all just felt at that time. We just bad news after bad news.
That's
like, it's perfect.
It really summed it up perfectly. It's like, you think that the cases are going down and things are getting better, where you're like, things can't get any worse, right? It's like, I'm already feeling down. I can't go to work. Like, can't go to the gym.
You can't leave your house after 8. You're like, okay, that's a lot worse. That's
I get that sense of the song. But that's why it's so anthemic and so relatable. It's like, why do they kick you when you're down? I don't know. It's very blue collar.
Now that I've listened to it a few times, I actually think it's kind of sexist.
It may be because there's a woman in there.
It's just talking about a woman who, I don't know. It's very vague.
I know. I was reading that too in one of the interpretations here. It was like he's arguing with a lady. Possible.
And then he just like lumps all women in there.
I don't know.
Why do they kick you? And anyway, I mean, you shouldn't read too much into it. I mean, AC/DC.
It's AC/DC, right?
Things many times. I don't love them because they're potentially that way. They are
what they are. They're a parody of rock and roll itself.
Yeah, they're such a parody that I don't think you should take them seriously.
They're basically satire. That's it. They're just kind of very satirical.
Yeah.
You can't take them too seriously. And then we got Witch's Spell. And that's a funny one because that was the one we initially thought was like bad.
It's still kind of funny. Like there's such a strain. It's like, Witch's Spell.
I know. What's wrong with his voice? Like, also, why is it so high pitched? And
what is the Witch's Spell? What is he talking about?
What is he talking?
What
It makes me laugh
witch?
too.
What spell? And
What witch and what spell? And it was weird that it became a single off the album too. Because it's not like the best song of. It's catchy though.
It's got a good riff. I could say that about every song on here. The riffs are really good. Like
They really are. I thought they ran out of riffs, but they somehow managed to keep coming up with new ones. The
the
finger picking
guitar
on this
work on
one's
this
nice.
album is really top notch, I think.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like they found like they honed in their nice crunch, and they've not too much distortion, just the right amount.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it's distorted. I think it's like clean tone.
Yeah.
That's the legend of AC/DC, right? It's like they're just clean tone.
Clean tone.
They're just cranked up so high. They're cranked up to 11. But yeah, it's weird. It's like, it's not a bad song. It's just funny, but it's still a good song.
Yeah.
I think it's a grower for sure.
Yeah.
Just spell. Then move on to Demon Fire. Demon Fire is great. I don't know how you feel with Demon Fire. It's like, it was one of my favorites originally.
I like the riff. I like the speed. It's got like more speed than the average AC/DC song as of late.
Mm-hmm.
I like Brian's like he uses his lower register sometimes. I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, when he opens, yeah, I hear it.
It does sound like Caught with Your Pants Down, but it's
does.
better. So I have no complaints. Like, it's better than that song.
I hear it in there. I was thinking the same thing. It sounds a little too similar to Caught with Your Pants Down. Ball Breaker. Yeah.
And this one's like Demon Fire.
I know.
Classic AC/DC.
I know. They managed to take the same riff over and over and over again.
Yeah, if you don't like AC/DC, this album's not gonna.
It's not for you. No, exactly. It won't make you like them anymore. But Demon Fire is great. It's their thrash metal song of the album.
If you like downtune that, it would be a pretty solid metal song.
Yeah, for sure. And then we got Wild Reputation. I like that one too.
Yeah, it's got kind of a low key grooving vibe, kind of something like Gone Shooting by like from Power. Yeah. It's got like a bluesy.
It's like Gone Shooting 2020, basically. Yeah. It's this kind of like begins the more the bluesier half of the second, like I guess the bluesier second half.
No Man's Land is also super bluesy.
Mm-hmm. I haven't confused the two, but I actually really like No Man's Land.
Yeah,
it's a song.
The riff is super good.
It's great. I love it. It really
got like a outlaw country vibe to it too. Mm-hmm. Like, it's super cool.
It also is a song that I actually related to quite a bit when the curfew was here, because you'd get up in the morning and there was nobody outside. It was dead. Right. And I would get on these early morning bike rides because I need to get some exercise, just get out of my house for a little bit. And I was like in the middle of nowhere at I was in the West Island or I was in the East End or whatever. And it was nobody out there. It was so early in the morning. And I was like, I'm in No Man's Land. It was the perfect companion for those early morning bike rides. Because I would listen to like lots of heavy music, and then I need to contrast it with something a little lighter, and No Man's Land just really fit the mood. That's one of my favorites off the album, I think. And then we go into this is where like the last three.
Yeah, it's where the last three they're not bad. I can't say they're bad. They just kind of lose me a little bit.
Me too. I think Systems Down is easily one of the weaker tracks on the album.
It has an amazing pre-chorus. It sounds really good, but then it leads to like nothing.
I know.
It just leads to like the same AC/DC yelling the title.
Yeah, they just seem to do that a lot. And is there one where they don't? No, they do that in the whole album.
There's
I think they do. Oh no, AC/DC.
It's a classic AC/DC. I mean, it depends on the riff. The riff is so good that you don't care. The riff and nothing about this chorus works, and it's too bad.
It's too bad. It's just it doesn't even sound like rock either. Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's not my favorite. And then moving to Money Shot, which is a little uncomfortable. I don't really know what
Money Shot is like. It's not surprising because it's like most of the album hasn't really had any overt sexual innuendo at all. And then this one like really doubles down on it. You're like, oh yeah, this is the AC/DC I know.
And but it's just more disturbing because they're older.
You're also like 70. I don't need to hear that.
I know. I won't say much more about it.
Not like don't
do. I know it's a little too much. A little too on the nose, as we'd say, right?
I do find it catchy.
Me too.
But it's icky.
It's a little icky. And that's it. It's like Systems Down and Money Shot are a little weak, but it's got to fill, it has to fill up the 12 songs. I find, like, I mean, I guess if you took those two out, you would just have Code Red. I think this would be perfect because Code Red is pretty good.
Yeah, it's got a cool riff. Definitely has a cool riff. I don't really remember. I can't remember anything about it though. Like that. I just
remember the riff.
Yeah, the riff's the only thing.
It's just the riff I like.
But it's a pretty cool riff, and it kind of goes along with the. I don't think Pandemic has anything to do with this album, but there's a little bit of like that vibe in a lot of the songs. Whereas Money Shot doesn't have that, so I would get rid of Money Shot.
I hear it.
Down is not good. So
I hear Code Red. It's like, I guess, because we were living by these codes for a while. We're like red zone, orange zone.
Yeah,
green.
Exactly.
So I guess when you hear Code Red, you think like
an emergency.
We're in a red zone or orange zone. I don't know. That's all I really got from it. But honestly, it's not I don't know. It's just kind of a weird way to close the album. I just like the main riff because the main riff just shows off Angus's technicality and how smooth and how fast he is. And I think Stevie Young is a great replacement for Malcolm. It's so hard to replace Malcolm, but Stevie Young.
Yeah, I would say, job. I would say it's like not, it's never going to be as tight as it once was, but he does a really good job.
Yeah. Yeah. So overall, it's a well mixed album. It did really, really well. I can't wait to see him come back on tour.
I know. I can't wait to hear some of these songs. Like,
me too.
It'll be so good live. And
wait till they get into like realize when they I'm gonna go crazy.
It's gonna be so good.
It's gonna be so good.
I love this album. I think it got good reviews. It sold. I think it's one of their highest selling albums.
Wow.
I know some people probably don't like it, but I think it's easily their best since Razor's Edge.
I think so too. I was gonna say it's crazy to think that like that was their best album in 30 years.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it like shouldn't be at all. Like,
it shouldn't be. I know they
no right to be.
There were some great songs in between, but there were just a couple of duds, and I think that rock or bust. You have to kind of like look at it and say, okay, you know what, Malcolm was really sick at the time because Malcolm passed away in between. Right in between Rock or Bust or Power Up. So honestly, like for all the turmoil they were going through, really a phenomenal album. And I agree. I think it's one of Brian Johnson's best albums, probably like top 3 Brian Johnson. And
I mean, it's hard because for those best rock, and I think it's underrated. Razor's Edge is pretty good, but in terms of like Brian Johnson like vocal performances, it's definitely doing some of his best singing here.
Oh, for sure. It shows he still got it.
Voice like after Back in Black, pretty much. So maybe getting fired, I don't know, invigorated him, gave him some time to rest. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure why did they fire him again? It doesn't make sense. How could
his hearing, which is pretty jerky. It's like,
hearing
problem. Well, let's hire Axl Rose.
Oh, dude, that is like a really dark period of age. Why did they do that?
Not like Axl Rose. And it was a poor replacement.
I saw a performance of him singing "Touch Too Much," and I was like, "Oh no, AC/DC, no, don't do that, no, what are you doing? Don't do that."
But AC/DC lives on, and I'm sure they'll be back another few years. Do the same thing they always do.
Let's hope so. I can't wait to see what their next album will sound like. It's gonna be interesting.
I don't know. Maybe they'll be like the Stones and do like a blues record. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they could do whatever they want at this point. But I just prefer to stick to what I don't want them to pull a Foo Fighters where they just end up doing disco or something weird.
I'd be okay if this was their last and then they just toured until they died. That sounds bad.
But I mean, what else can they do? I mean, they put out another album after this. That's a lot.
But whatever, I'm never gonna count them out. Like at this point, I wasn't expecting Power Up. I was like, okay, they're gonna make an album. I'm not gonna really like it all that much, but it'll go on tour and that'll be great. But then they made Power Up and it was really good. So I don't know.
For sure. I'm really excited to see where it stands on their live set list, because it's like this new stuff combined with their old stuff is going to sound so good. It's going to be like a nice contrast, right? And they can finally get rid of the more mediocre stuff, like in the middle.
Last time we saw it was rock or bust, and like every rock or bust song, I was like, oh, man.
I know. There are heroes, but
I like the Black Ice tour, but this will be better. It'll be even better.
Black Ice is just its own thing. It's 15 songs, right?
Anyway, we can go on for everybody.
Go on forever, but
further reviews.
Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think the top songs in the album are.
Oh yeah, we didn't rate it. We didn't give it a rating.
I give it a solid 8 on 10.
Nice. I'm gonna give it 7.5.
I think that's a better. It's a 75%, I think, because there's just a couple of tracks
it's in between.
Yeah.
Very
in between. Okay. All right. So thanks for that, guys. See you on the next one. Peace.